So this is the story of how a massage therapist built a $1.8 million TFSA. So Jacob is now 50 years old and started investing in his TFSA back in 2009 when it was first introduced. So Jacob is a father of 3 children. He's also an avid market follower who's accumulated unbelievable investment returns by taking extreme risks, including borrowing against his home. So in addition to his TFSA reaching $1.8 million, his RRSP actually got to $6.4 million as a result of $216,000 worth of contributions or deposits. So when Jacob first began investing, he tried to follow the methodology of greats like Warren Buffett and Ben Graham. But more recently, his investing style is what he calls event investing. So event investing is basically looking for news that can be a catalyst for a company or sector to grow and attract investor interest. To me personally, I think looking for a catalyst or event investing is great when you are trying to trade, like do a swing trade or do a short-term trade. That's great. But in terms of long-term investing, I don't know how reliable event investing can be for long-term investing. You're not really looking at the fundamentals of the stock when you're looking at an event investing. But I feel like a lot of people, when they're new to the stock market, event investing is what a lot of people turn to. It's more common sense. It's like the easiest way for somebody to kind of understand how a stock or a company pops off. There is truth to it. A lot of times the event is already baked into the stock price. Essentially, people buy the rumors and they sell the news. So Jacob's portfolio was highly concentrated, with 90% of it being in one stock and the other 10 being split between 2 different stocks. So as the article states, given his style of investing, Jacob's taking a huge chance on losing large sums of money in the blink of an eye. And yeah, like as you know, as you've probably seen in the news or from people around you, heard about it, many people have lost a lot of money betting on meme stocks or, just stocks that are hype. There are the lucky few like Jacob who've generated millions in gains over the course of 15 years, like in this case. So just for your information, the average Canadian in 2023 had a TFSA valued at $41,000 approximately. So let's get to what investments led Jacob's TFSA value to grow so much. So early on, Jacob picked stocks that did pretty well, like Russell Metals and Harry Winston, which is a diamond miner. And this could seem very boring for a lot of people, especially me. Like, I don't think I would ever invest in precious metals. You have to really understand all the research reports and all that to really invest and understand this. More boring stocks is where you can always find good value plays. And because Jacob was a follower of Ben Graham, who was the godfather of value investing, these kind of companies are where you can find gems and great deals that are value stocks. So Jacob considered himself a student of long-term value investing, and he read a lot of books on it and also took a Canadian securities course as well. So value investing is when you buy stocks that are undervalued in price by the market according to your fundamental analysis. And then you buy these companies at a discount and hold them for a long period of time, and you can make considerable returns on your money. And if you've heard of the book The Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham, well, that is kind of like the Bible for value investing. Okay, so back to Jacob. So after the mining stocks back in 2016, he invested in a little company called Canopy Growth Corp. And this company was already generating revenue from its medical marijuana business prior to legalization in 2018. So Jacob sold his shares in Canopy Growth Corp in August of 2018, just post legalization, for a large amount of gains. However, he bought back in October, and he kind of held the stocks past their peak and lost money. So that kind of counteracted the large amount of gains that he earned on the first initial sale. I think this was a case of FOMO. I think it's kind of natural when you're investing, and especially if you're new and you're not a seasoned investor, that you sell something. Let's just say you bought something for $1, it goes to 11, you sell it, and then you see it continue to go up, and you don't want to miss out on all these gains, because even if you know that it's overvalued or you know it's bound to come down at some point, it's just the inherent greed, I guess, that is human nature. In human psychology, it's kind of like you think it's like free money, so it's like, why am I letting it go kind of thing, right? So anyways, that's what happened to Jacob here. Now let's talk about some of the mistakes that Jacob made on his way to getting to 1.8 million. So the first thing is he put some money into bonds pre the inflation skyrocket of 2021. He also borrowed $300,000 from his home equity line of credit to put into 2 other cannabis companies. Those companies were CanTrust and Organigram. and he ended up losing $600,000 on this trade, including the money he borrowed from his home equity. He also bought some energy stocks in March of 2022, but that didn't really move the needle too much, and he ended up selling that. So in 2023, he ended up selling those energy stocks in favor of MicroStrategy Inc. And this is the one stock that accounts for 90% of Jacob's TFSA today. His TFSA and his RSP combined. And the rest of Jacob's portfolio currently is occupied by Nvidia and Tesla. So here's a little bit about MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy is one of the largest corporate buyers of Bitcoin in the entire world. They hold about $15 billion in Bitcoin. And it was founded by billionaire Michael Saylor back in 1989, and its shares have nearly tripled in 2024 alone. So how did Jacob know about MicroStrategy back in 2023? So one of his massage clients suggested to him to watch a video on what Bitcoin was and its potential. Further along into his research, he found a video on Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin. And Jacob thought that Michael Saylor made a good case on why Bitcoin was here to stay and why it should be used as a treasury asset by companies and governments as an inflation hedge. So Jacob initially bought MicroStrategy at $350 per share back in October 2023, and he continued to add to his position to begin 2024. And in June of 2024, MicroStrategy was trading at $1,500 USD. And June is way before Trump even won the election, so you can imagine where it went from there. So Jacob said he doesn't plan on retiring for at least 5 years, and he wants to move eventually to more conservative dividend investing. So Jacob felt that taking on these considerable risks was the only way to provide generously for his kids in the future. Jacob grew up with a lot of privilege, so he genuinely felt that his income as a massage therapist was not enough. And in my opinion, I think that's understandable as to why he took those huge risks. I mean, it's his money to lose. He took the risk. It worked out for him. I mean, it could have went a completely different direction. But yeah, anyways, let me know your thoughts on Jacob's story and his rise to $1.8 million TFSA. I think this series, based on articles that are written in the Globe and Mail, where people send screenshots of their actual TFSA balances and someone writes an article about it, kind of interviews them on how they got there. I think it's very good in terms of, spreading financial literacy, in terms of showing people that what is possible. I mean, obviously, a lot of these stories are just people making these huge bets, and in a lot of cases, you'll lose all your money, but there's also ways to kind of mitigate that risk as well, and we'll talk about that in other videos. It's just good for people to see, because when you first start investing, you don't know how big your portfolio will get in the future, right? Because you've never actually felt the growth of a portfolio. You've never actually experienced the feeling of the growth of the portfolio and what's actually possible. So at the end of the day, they're all numbers on a screen, right? Let me know your thoughts on this, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because there's going to be more. I have 5 more videos like this in the works. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.